So, my name is Isaac. I am a online fitness coach certified by ISSA. I am 21 years old. I was born in Canada, specifically in Ottawa, raised by a family of four, two parents and one younger brother. So for most of my life, I played hockey. I started skating at the age of 4 and played my last season at the age of 18. I was also a very skinny person. I was underweight my whole life. Unfortunately, because of it too, I was not really well respected. I was treated as an easy target, and to be fair, I was. Because another thing about me too is that I was always a nice guy. I like to still consider myself a nice guy, to be honest, but you know, especially in the past, I was too nice, too tolerant, too nice, and didn't quite respect myself either. And because of those moments when I was younger, it made me develop low confidence, also some very low self-esteem. And unfortunately, those effects kind of carried on with me through elementary and even the entirety of my high school, right? And even actually a little bit in my college years. In high school, I was not very social. I did have friends. Honestly, there are a couple of people that I made friends in high school who are still people that I love to this day, right? Like, they are great, true friends. So I'm very lucky to have them, and I was very lucky to also have them throughout my high school. My supportive family and the friends that I have today, I would just like to give appreciation, because they are the people who really did keep me from going deep into a mental rabbit hole that I honestly don't know how deep can really go. So I'm very grateful and will always be grateful for those people. So yeah, in high school, I was not very social, didn't really party much. All I really did back then was play hockey and play video games. That's honestly all I really did. Unfortunately too, during high school, some of the friends that I had, you couldn't quite call them real friends. Weren't exactly the best influence. And also, honestly, some of them didn't make my self-esteem better, my confidence any better. I honestly felt like it was getting a little bit worse. Eventually though, in high school, I got into a relationship. And that relationship ended up with me getting cheated on. Because of that, my self-esteem was at an all-time low. I had no confidence. I realized that there was nothing I can do. I was very confused, sad, frustrated. I didn't want to talk to anybody about it, or I just didn't want to talk to anybody in general. The thing though about that moment in my life is that it did shine a very bright light on who I was in that moment. I was clearly seeing just how weak I was, right? And I didn't realize until that situation happened that, wow, like, I was really weak, you know? And I was not at all the person I even thought I was. Because back then I thought, like 16 years old, playing hockey, fairly good at hockey, and have a girlfriend, like, oh, I'm chilling, you know? I am the person I want to be. But man, when I tell you, I had a big realization of who I actually was and how blind I was. So I knew that I needed to change. So what I did to change was that I started working out. Now, I wasn't going to the gym to get better at hockey. I was going to the gym to feel better about myself, right? To really improve my physique, to get stronger. You know, I was really, really motivated to make that person regret doing that to me back then. That was my prime motivation. But eventually, though, that motivation wore off, and I started training purely off discipline. And that's when I realized that by doing that, I realized that going to the gym isn't only helping me with my physique, but it's actually helping me with healing my mentality, right? Because my mentality back then was pretty bruised, and I was still very skinny, you know, still very low confident, low self-esteem. So yeah, when I started working out though, I didn't quite know what I was doing. I started training at in a basement, but occasionally going into gyms, but 90% of it was me just training in my basement, doing what I thought was right, with no help whatsoever. Somehow I actually did get results, right? After all, I was still going through puberty and I was training. So after about a year and a half and stuff like that, I started actually seeing results that I knew I wouldn't have gotten if I hadn't started training. So that actually ended up pushing me to keep going. And at this point too, that's when working out started to really become routine. It started to become something I did multiple times every single week, consistently. And I started getting better at it. I started getting stronger, right? After high school, I went into college. I went into a biology program because I wanted to be a veterinarian back then. I always had a soft spot for animals, and that was my only reason I wanted to be a veterinarian. During that time too, that's when I started noticing that I was getting complimented for my looks. I started realizing that the hard work that I was putting in my basement, it was very much paying off. And that change was huge, you know? Went from being someone who was made fun of, you know, skinny, disrespected, to someone who was still skinny, but was obvious that I was putting muscle from the training. I was more respected, a lot more respected, and getting compliments, right? And that change really motivated me to, you know, to train more, right? To get even better results. During my first year in college, went through a relationship. Didn't work out after the whole year. I did learn and I did grow from it, and motivated me more to hit the gym. One thing it also motivated me to do was... Yeah, so as I'm editing this, I realized that I went a bit off track here. Essentially what I wanted to say was I became motivated to increase my level of independence. I wanted to start making my own living and develop my own purpose. I tried doing things like dropshipping and affiliate marketing to increase my income, but I realized that those things were not suiting my purpose. One thing, however, that I was doing was that I started creating fitness and motivation type content on social media. This gave me a purpose because I was already in love with going to the gym, and I was essentially reusing the motivation that I was using for myself and repurpose them as content. And the reason why to this day I stick doing to this is because I already love working out. I love helping people. I was already creating fitness content, so I decided why not make this my path. Eventually I got into university. In my first year of university, I got into another relationship and it didn't work out. But like the other one, I did come out as a better man. I learned a lot from that relationship as well. And it was at this point too where I was like, you know what, I am going to stop my path to becoming a veterinarian and switch over to business. Because going into business was something that made sense to me, right? If I wanted to become my own boss and make a living by doing something that I like, going to business in university was the right choice for me. Just for a clear frame of reference, this was a year and a half, 2 years ago. I started doing MMA because it gave me another purpose to my training. Starting MMA was a very good choice for me because it helped with my confidence, it helped with my self-esteem, it helped make me become an even more of an athletic person than I was before. And on top of that too, I was always someone who wanted to know how to fight. About a year ago, I was in a position where I was, you know, going to school, going to the gym, going to MMA, and doing a few other things which was dividing my attention and my focus separately, right? all these things were not going towards one specific thing. And I didn't like that because it was making me disorganized. Um, it was really hard to manage my time and to even make progress on each of those things. So I was like, well, if I want to make progress, I gotta find a way to make progress somehow. So for one, how can I start making progress on the things that I love doing? First of all, I can make sacrifices and narrow the amount of things that I do during my days, right? Second of all, have my things align so that it can go all towards one thing. So I started reflecting, right? Who am I as a person? What do I want to spend my time doing? And what do I want to focus my energy towards, right? For one, well, I want to focus my energy on developing my future. Okay, so what am I doing right now that's helping me with my future? And that's when something right there inside of me clicked. I love going to the gym. I love helping people. I want to make a living doing something that I love. And I already make fitness related content. So it only made sense for me to be like, well, being a fitness coach just sounds like something that suits me the most. So at that point, it was just clear to me. Being a fitness coach is something that suits me and something that I really want to do. Ever since then, I started taking my content much more seriously. I started analyzing how other fitness influencers were doing what they did. And also, I invested to becoming a certified personal trainer for the International Sports Science Association, or the ISSA for short. So yeah, that's how I became who I am. 21 years old, a business student at university, online fitness coach, certified personal trainer from Canada.